would not be there, and life will return to normal, and then we will have a lot of fun and learnings the live way. So we have an interesting session where one of the speakers is our president herself. So I'm very much looking forward to it, and not taking much time. I don't think we have any guests today, so I wouldn't speak about Venus Club and what it is. You guys know it better than me. With that, I pass it on to Madam President once again.
Thank you so much, Monsieur le Founder. I think we'll have to change some styles now. All right, so as per the agenda today, what we are going to do is have three speakers. There is Priya Rathod, myself, and Kamal Mittal in that order. And the theme of the session today is stories. All of us have some stories that either we live by or we like to tell. Our lives are all revolving around stories. There is fact, there is truth, there is stories. And all of us can benefit from how we tell those stories, whether it is stories for children to learn by, stories for ourselves, stories for our work, and each of these will be covered. Our communications expert, Priya Rathod, is going to talk about the art of storytelling in communication. And this communication can be anywhere, whether you're communicating with your family or you're communicating at your workplace or you're in a training, wherever you are, the art of storytelling, how you can use stories to communicate exactly what you want to communicate is what Priya will be covering today. The second part will be covered by me, which is the stories we tell ourselves. So there's going to be a flow to this session, and that is from the art of storytelling to the stories we tell ourselves. How do we live in those stories, and what can we do to create more empowering stories for ourselves? And the third part is going to be taken by Kamal Mittal. He is our business expert, and he is going to talk about how do we use stories to sell. Now, there is a saying that I have heard that facts tell, but stories sell. So how do you use stories to sell your products or your services to convince people that what you are offering them is of value to them? So without further ado, let us welcome our first speaker. But before that, I'm just going to make this a Facebook Live. And broadcast the meeting on Facebook. Yay! This is exciting. I would like somebody to, from our Venus Club profile, if you can go on the profile and then share this to our Venus Club group, that would be really nice. Okay, so I'm going to go live. Yes. All right. So here we are, live on Facebook, our first meeting for this year officially on Venus Club. And I'm Captain Aditi Samant. I am the president of Venus Club for the year 2021. 122 with our founder Manish Dayal, and the speakers for today. We're going to talk about stories. Our first speaker is Ms. Priya Rathore. The second speaker will be myself, and the third speaker is Mr. Kamal Mittal. So let me hand over to Priya for the first talk of the day. Priya Rathore, Stories, the Art of Storytelling. Priya, all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Aditi. Am I visible, audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Let's picture the scene. Okay. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
What's up? You don't look well. Well, I've had a real bad day. Bad day? Oh my God. Tell me about it. The response to which is a story. Tell me about it. Oh, really? I'm all ears. Everything that requires communication from the heart. And I would say a lot of communication from your side is nothing but you're telling somebody a story. Let's talk about the story. I would say that the stories have been dated 15,000 BC, right from 15,000 BC. People have been using the art of storytelling to communicate. Communicate what? Ideas, thoughts, feelings. People have built a complete civilization on stories. And the reason? Because stories have got unfathomable power to connect with people. Stories actually help you to communicate at an emotional level from one heart to another and another and another, depending upon how many speakers we have. The speaker connects with those many hearts. Always starts with once upon a time, and there you are. Tune to that person. Tell me more about it. Or long, long ago, people are again tuned to that. Reason? Because your brain starts synchronizing with that. Brain always looks for data. Brain always looks for information. And stories is a perfect way of connecting with people because it is not a lecture. When we are talking about data, it could be a lecture, it could be a speech. No, story is not. We cannot categorize story as either the speech or the lecture because story has got one element in it, and that element is of entertainment. Entertainment and entertainment at its best. So today what we are going to do, we're going to try to understand what are those things that make a story powerful. Though this session, the title of this session is Art of Storytelling, but I'm going to focus on two things. I'm going to focus on two things. One is the art of storytelling, and the other may be the science of storytelling. So we have both the elements, the art and the science of storytelling. So let's understand the art of storytelling. What really helps people connect with someone? It's the synchronicity in the brain. The moment when someone starts telling something and it has a lot of information in it, people are tuned to it. Why are people tuned to it? Is that because there's something that I'm going to find in that story which I can connect with. Maybe it has happened to me before. Maybe something of that sort is going to give me a memory of something. So we have the art of storytelling, and the science of storytelling is exactly about the why. So when we talk about the art of storytelling, it's the what that goes into the story, and when we talk about the science, it is to tell about the why and how it happens, both together. I would say that stories have always found its place everywhere. You see, most of the religious texts, they were all stories. Whenever you listen to a song, song is a story. Whenever you listen to some comedy, comedy is also a story. And so we have stories everywhere. So now if there are so many stories and mysteries that would be there, you have the element of mystery, you have the element of humor, you have the element of surprise, you have so many elements that make up a story. A story can never be boring. The only thing is you need to know when should you be connecting with your audience and what really your audience is in mood with. So I have around 3 tips that I'm going to be sharing with everybody right now, which are on how can I enhance my art of storytelling. So let's start with the first one. First one is make your audience care. So before I give a few details about it, would anybody from the audience want to guess exactly what goes into make your audience care for your story? Anybody? Okay.
So
I
it
think
goes to maybe to connect with the audience emotionally.
Yes. Very true. Anybody else?
it is how you tell the story. I mean, what tone you're using, your expressions, your your body language while
Hmm.
you tell the story, that connects to the audience.
Yes. Right, right. Perfect. How you tell your story and how you make your people emotionally connect. How do I make my audience emotionally connect to my story? Remember one thing, there is absolutely no one formula to this. And sometimes stories also can fail. Though we say the stories are one sure shot way of connecting with your audience, but doesn't mean that all stories don't fail or all stories are successful. There can be times when a particular story fails. And the reason, maybe you've chosen the wrong story to the wrong audience at the wrong time. So when we say make your audience care, it means let your audience love your story. So if my audience has to love my story, I need to know that am I saying the right thing and the right content to the right audience at the right time. If it is some kind of, let's say people are in a mood of fun, and then somebody comes and starts with something that others are not going to be happy with, it's more like I'm giving a punch to them at that time. So that story will not tick. If you really want to make your story stick, you have to choose the occasion with the right kind of story narrative. Your narrative has to be very strong. So that's one thing. And so I would want my audience to care about my story. Then, a very, very good thing that you can do, the second point, is sell the scene to everybody. So, which means that you may want to give a little bit of visual imagery to your people. So, tell them, I was walking. I was walking on the road, and suddenly, what do I see in front of me? You see, what you're doing right now is you're not actually telling them what is there that you see in front. You're creating the scene behind that. So, the backdrop is very essential. These are called transitions that we take. I would say the transitions have to be so strong that the people are able to connect. If you give them pure data, for example, if I have to say, I was walking on the road and I saw a bulldozer, and along with the bulldozer on the other side, I saw the elephant, and the elephant was hurt. I I presume that the elephant was hurt because of the bulldozer. You see, simple thing like this. If I want to put it in the storytelling form, it is not going to be like that. I'm going to say, I was walking on the road, and suddenly what I saw in front of me, oh, here's a bulldozer. I was wondering why the bulldozer is at this place at this time. What I also saw ahead of me is there was one elephant, a huge elephant, but the elephant was hurt. Oh my God. I knew it for sure. This elephant has been hurt because of the bulldozer, is what I presumed. You see what we are doing right now? We are not giving them pure data, pure content. Storytelling has to have a lot of fill-ins of your emotions and of your experiences, because you cannot be telling people just one complete sentence, otherwise it would be a lecture or some data that you're giving them. Stories do give data, but the way they wrap the data up is something that you would like to keep. So the third that I would give you in your art of storytelling is going to be use your tension and arouse curiosity. I would say, ये क्यों बोल रही है ऐसे? Why do we have to give tension to our speakers? Absolutely, you have to give them tension. so that you are able to trigger their curiosity. Okay? When we trigger their curiosity, thank you very much, Kupu sir, for that reminder. So it helps. Okay, now since we have only 5 minutes remaining, very quickly, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the science of storytelling. And let me also tell you that whatever I've said right now, it can be a standalone session all by itself and maybe more. Coming to the science of storytelling, there is this something that happens to the brain when someone is able to open up a story. So when people start with a story, there's something that happens to our brain from inside. What really happens? There is a trigger to know more. Why? Because there is curiosity. There are certain parts of the brain which are in motion, set already. So, what a story actually does, it activates certain portions of your brain, especially your frontal cortex. So, I would like to tell you about these three regions that any story is able to successfully activate. One is the motor cortex. And so let's say if your story talks about many transitions that happen with movement, then I went here on my left I saw this, on my right there was another let's say another pavement, and suddenly I went round the chronicles and I stood, I was looking in amusement, what was the centerpiece. So you see what we are doing right now is we are activating the motor cortex. What we are doing to the speakers is when we talk to them, we are taking them on a journey where they are able to move from one point to another and another and another in their brain already. So we've all activated the motor cortex. Then when we start describing things like a visual imagery to people, so then we start saying, there was this blue colored bird which was sitting on my tree which was absolutely bushy and people could not see. Amazing green leaves covered the nest of this bluebird. And I saw all this in the lush green grass. On the lush green grass, the grass meadows, was this one beautiful peacock. The peacock had so many colors. The colors were changing, illuminating, right from dark blue to dark gray to dark purple. So what we are doing, we are activating their visual cortex. Now your audience is able to see what you're selling them. They're able to see. Okay, and at the same time, when you are telling people, there's another cortex that you can possibly activate, is a sensory cortex. So we have 5 senses: the visual, the auditory. Okay, then you have the gustatory. So if I start telling people that there was something cooking in the kitchen, oh, it gave me amazing aroma. I went in the kitchen and I opened the lid. What is that my maid had made? It was this amazing chicken curry. Red, the gravy was red. I tasted it. Oh my God, scintillating taste. It just melted in my mouth. You see, you're telling people about this, and suddenly they start salivating like I'm salivating right now. This is exactly what a story can do. You can start activating as many senses. So even a storyteller has got many stages. We start storytelling, maybe we are not able to activate many senses, but as we grow as a storyteller, slowly and steadily and steadily and slowly, we are able to encapsulate our audience within us. You know, it's like we deport them to a different world altogether they don't want to come out from. You see, that is the experience we give to our listeners. When we really start telling stories, it's about bringing the audience to a different kind of a world that they don't want to get out of. Even if it has to create an illusion and then have some more. And if that is going to happen, remember one thing, you have activated some senses of theirs. So storytelling is all about activating senses. And if their senses have to be activated, so are your senses activated. So what does that call for? It calls for synchronization. And then we go back to the art of storytelling. And then from the art, we come to the science. Art and science together, a wonderful and a lethal combination of the storytelling. So yes, I've got indication from you, Shrikantji. So thank you very much, everybody. So I give it over to our president. If we have any questions, I can answer them.
Yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, Priya, that whenever we hear the word story, right from our childhood times, we've always had a very positive, like you said, curiosity. That is one of the emotions. So all the emotions which we've got is always positive, while a
Yes.
story can be tragic and sad as well.
Yes.
But we always get in the initial part before the story starts, we always get positive feelings only. Why is that? Or is that related to something?
So the brain is, yes.
Okay.
So the brain is always looking for some kind of an entertainment
Yeah.
or some feeling of escapism. Stories give you
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And there are many files in the brain, and all those files are of various emotions. So even if you're telling them a happy story, and in the happy story itself there have been tragic moments, so when those tragic moments happen, when the listener is able to connect with when the speaker is able to connect with the listener, what we are doing is that we are activating that particular file in his mind. Maybe something has happened to him, like of the sort that he is able to think of, go back in retrospect.
Yeah.
So we are able to
Okay.
connect with many emotions at the same time. I would say all these files are nothing but emotions, and we have all experienced these emotions. One more thing, that why does it connect well with children? Well, children are better visualization. They are able to better visualize than the adults do. Why? Because in time our visualization gets contaminated. We have so many facts in front of us. That's why cartoons work very well with them.
Yeah.
They are able to see pictures, colors, sounds, the way you describe it to them.
Yeah.
So those
Yeah.
are visual stories.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks, Priya.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions? I see Manoj has a comment. Manoj, you have something to say. It's a beautiful thing. Would you like to add it to what we just said?
Yeah. So what Manish was asking was, even if there are negative emotions in the story, still there is something positive that people look forward in that, and that comes from the feeling of anticipation and curiosity that what's next. Sometimes there is a hope at the end of that negative emotion because they know it's a story, so there will be some turnaround somewhere. And even if it's not a turnaround, it's like, okay, this is only a story. It's not me in it. So what will I learn from learn out of it? So I think that continues to have just the form that the story takes creates a positive anticipation from it all.
Yes, very true. That was amazing. Right.
Thank you, and wonderful session, Priya. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priya, and thank you, Manoj. So beautifully put, both of you. Gopu sir has a point that he wants to make. He's told us. He says stories paint a picture of a scene. Absolutely. Priya, would you like to elaborate a little bit on that?
Let's talk about this morning. Whatever we do in our meeting today, that can be also translated to a story, but you have to make it interesting, thinking about whom am I telling the story to. I remember there was this teacher of mine, when she was telling us about thermodynamics, she presented the topic of thermodynamics in a story form. She told about how things happen. And in the story form, she presented to us, and we were able to understand better. When we had a change of the teacher, we all we all scored less grades. Why? Because we were not able to connect. Even something like physics, anything which is more logical or analytical, can be presented in the story form. One thing that you can never go wrong with, you can never go wrong with a story. I still remember our teacher was talking to us about transition motion. in our physics class. So she came transitioning into the into the room, you know, and said, I am in motion, I am in motion. She used sound also. You see, she was using the pattern of sound. I am in motion, I am in motion. What kind of a motion? Transitory motion. And then she told us what transitory motion was all about. That gyan and that theory that got embedded in us. Why? Because she had given us that hook. That hook, when she came into the class, giving us a sound pattern and her deportation, it stayed with us. I still remember it. Ask me if I remember my Ohm's law. No, I don't. But I remember what she had done. Everything that she did. Why? Because she used the successful art of storytelling. Like I said, unfathomable power in everything that she had done. The only thing and the only shift that we need to make is to know how to present it. How to present it, and what am I activating in my audience now? Am I making my audience visual hungry? Am I making them sensory hungry? Am I making them, you know, am I activating their motor cortex? So many things. I would say it takes time and effort to get better at this. No matter how much ever we have it, there always is a room for more. Thank you, everyone. In the interest of time.
So when we do a corporate presentation, for example, analytical statistics,
Yes.
isn't that also a form of a storytelling? I mean, you give the from where it was to where it is now and where the future projections and so on.
Okay, one very, very essential point that we need to draw, I would say the distinction is that every data is not story and every story is not data. Every story can be data, but every data is not story. So if I'm giving a presentation from start to end, let's say I'm talking about the projection report or anything that I want to talk about, or I'm giving my quarterly or annual report, I'm giving them data. That data is not story, but it can be one with the way you start and the transitions that you give. What is that you would add here as a presenter? Maybe you might want to add a proverb, maybe you want to add an anecdote. How do you allow people to connect to it, the attention hooks that you give? They can be a start to a story. And yes, you can the answer to your question is, can we do it? Yes, it can be done, but is the data really a story? No, every data is not story, but every story can be data. That can happen. How can we make it interesting? That is the art that we would have. If you want to do it in the storytelling manner, even a normal PowerPoint presentation, if people are just presenting it, it does not become a story tell. What becomes a story tell are the elements that you're going to add. So if we would have time sometime in our tenure as a Venus Club member, I would really like to present this, that what are the things that we can add, those elements that we can add that can make our normal data, ordinary data, to become a story tell.
Actually, that's
So
a
it's all about
wonderful
adding
idea.
those elements.
Priya, that's a great
Thank you.
idea. Let's
Thank
have a
you.
workshop on that where you yourself present, and then we can all attend and learn. Actually, this in this 15 minutes, you've given us a beautiful gist of it, and you've made us actually hungry for more. So maybe we can schedule that as a workshop that you do, and so all of us can then tell better stories in the work that we do. Yeah. So thank you very much,
Definitely.
Priya, and thank you very much, dear Venus Club members who participated, who asked questions, comments, and thank you. This was a really enlightening storytelling session. So
Thank you.
I am going to now move on to the next. The next is me. And so let me just spotlight myself. And please keep time. All right. So what I am going to talk about today, taking on from our Priya, is the stories that we tell ourselves. Now, talk about the art and science of storytelling, telling other people's stories, there's also something very, very important that we do. The stories, before we tell other people's stories, we tell those stories to ourselves. And what kind of stories we tell ourselves is what we're going to see today. And let me introduce myself briefly. I'm Captain Aditi Samant. I'm a clinical psychologist. I am a trauma-informed resilience therapist and a life command coach. And this session today is going to be about very personal stories, the ones that we tell ourselves. So I'm just going to share my screen here. And let's start. So what is a story? Now, very beautifully, Priya has told us what stories are, but in the personal context, story is just a point of view, right? It is just the way I am looking at the world. It can be told from very different points of view, depending on where you are looking from. A few years ago, there was a movie called Vantage Point, if you guys remember that movie. And of course, there have been many other movies and even stories and novels written from this perspective of, different people's point of view on the same story. Now, there is something that is happening, and there are people that are watching it and are creating stories about it. And in that movie, it was so beautifully expressed that I think it was the assassination of a president, and how the shooter saw the whole story. There was a segment on that. Then from the point of view of the president's wife, how she saw the entire thing unfold, how the witnesses saw the entire thing unfold. The fact was the same, that a president was assassinated, but the point of view of every person who was looking at that story from their perspective was different. And that's how we in our lives also tell stories. So there is what is happening. Okay, those are the facts. Like Priya said, there is data. Okay, so the data is the fact of our lives, things that are happening around us. There is right now we are all in the middle of a pandemic. That is a fact. That is what is happening. The next thing is is the story that I tell myself about what is happening. Okay, we are in a lockdown. Some people would be telling themselves stories of, oh my God, this is a horrible thing that we are in a lockdown. It's been over a year and I'm stuck at home. I don't have a social life. Other people may be telling themselves stories like, oh, you know what? It's great. So many years I've been working, I've been out of home, and now I'm getting a chance to finally spend this time with my family. How wonderful it is. It's the same fact that all of us are at home, but the way different people are telling themselves stories about it depends on their point of view. Then the third thing, which is very beautiful, is from the story that I tell myself, there is a story that I am living. Okay, so one is the telling myself of it, and secondly is the living out that story. Okay, so when I live out my story, what does it mean? If I'm telling myself that, you know what, it is so sad that I'm stuck at home for a whole year and I can't meet my friends and I can't go on vacations and I can't go out to restaurants, I can't go out, I can't do things that I want to. I want to take this training offline and I can't do it. So this is the story I'm telling myself. But how am I living that story? I might be living that story saying, oh my God, this is so sad. I'm feeling so depressed. I'm feeling so lonely. I can't connect with anyone. I don't get, this whole online thing. It's not my cup of tea. That is the story I am living. So from telling myself, I've gone to living out that story, and that is what I am doing every single day. All right, let's go to the next part. Now, these stories that we tell ourselves can be either empowering or disempowering based on what we choose for them to be. Now, here is a very important thing I want to say. We are choosing it, okay? That everybody is in the middle of a pandemic is the fact. It is data, okay? But the different people that I said, that I gave examples of, or the different stories that I told you, a couple of them were empowering stories, a couple of them were disempowering stories. It depends on the not just the perspective, but the choice of perspective that we are making. So how do you know if the story that you are living is empowering or disempowering? How do you know that? You may think that, it is happening to me, and other people are also feeling that way, and I'm not choosing it, but you're choosing it. So we get to know whether my story is empowering or disempowering from what I am telling myself about the story that I'm living. Does it sound complicated? Yes, Manoj is saying whether it is helping to move forward or not is how we understand whether it is empowering or disempowering. Absolutely, Manoj, that is absolutely a very, very important aspect of it. Whether I'm moving ahead in my life or I'm moving behind in my life is how I understand whether whether the story I'm telling myself is empowering or disempowering. But what about the story that I am living? Okay, so let me explain. So there are different levels of stories that we tell ourselves, different levels of stories that we live. And from level 1 to level 5, it's a continuum. Level 1 and level 2 are quite disempowering stories. And from level 3, 4, 5 is how we move towards empowerment. So from disempowering stories to empowering stories, how do we change the way we tell ourselves the stories? How do we live? So that is through self-talk. So level 1 of self-talk. What is self-talk though? Self-talk is what I say to myself on a daily basis, continuously, the voice in my head. The voice in my head that is telling me my story, that is looking at it from my perspective, from my point of view, and saying, this is what is happening. Oh, I am stuck at home. Oh, I am not able to go out. That is my self-talk. So the level 1 of self-talk is I can't be, I can't do, I can't have. It's a level of negative experience. It's a self-depreciating and very disempowering level of self-talk. All of us engage in this at some point or the other. Some of us more, some of us less. So the first story, the level 1, the lowest level or the most disempowering level of stories we tell ourselves is, you know what, I can't do this. I can't be this person. I can't be happy. I can't be fit. I can't be, I can't be a good speaker. I can't be whatever. I can't do something. Okay. I really can't cook, or I can't play sports, or I can't, and I can't have so much money. I can't have a great car. I can't have great relationships. I can't. That is the most disempowering kind of stories, the most disempowering self-talk that we do with ourselves. And that is also a story. Okay. That is the most disempowering level of story that I'm telling myself. I can't be something, I can't do something, or I can't have something. The next level is the level of self-talk which says I shouldn't, or I should. We tell our children very often, children should do this, you should do that, you should eat your food, you should clean up your plate, you should get dressed, you should go to school, you should study so much. We keep giving our children these shoulds, and that is what becomes a part of us as we grow up. So every should in life that you have in your head is a story told to you by your parents or your teachers or influential adults when you were growing up. And then you started imbibing those shoulds and creating stories out of it. I should be a good person. I should be very helpful. I should be kind. I should be generous. I should not be stingy. I should do this. I should do this much amount of work. I should have so many. I should have such a big house. I should have these many kinds of friends. I should have this kind of a career. So every level of should. And what happens when you don't have that? When you have a should and you say I should, but that's not your reality at the moment, it can be quite disempowering, and it can feel like a pressure on me which is something that I don't want to do it, but I should be doing it because I have been told that I should do. So somebody else's voice, somebody else's story becomes the voice in my head telling me I should get up, I should get up. And then it keeps on nagging and pricking if I don't do what I think I should do. A better way of looking at it is I need to. What do I need to do? Okay, I need to get up early in the morning versus I should get up early in the morning. You can look at the change in the language. Okay, this is the recognition of the need to change. Okay, if I'm not waking up early in the morning and I feel like I'm wasting that much time, when I say I should wake up in the morning versus I need to wake up in the morning, I should wake up in the morning is a pressure. I need to wake up in the morning is a recognition of change. A small change in the self-talk makes a difference from disempowering to more empowering. I need to wake up early in the morning and I need to make use of that time. That is a lot more empowering than I should. The third level is I no longer am, or I no longer do, or I no longer have. This is where you make the decision to change. Okay. So from I need to wake up early in the morning to I no longer sleep till late, or I no longer sleep late at night. I am the kind of person who wakes up early in the morning. I am the kind of person who makes use of this time. I no longer smoke, or I no longer emotionally eat, or I no longer whatever it is that you want to change in your life. The moment you change your self-talk from I should or I can't to I no longer do that, old habits, and create that as a decision to change. So I know I do not identify with the person who smokes, or I no longer am a smoker, I am non-smoker. That is a decision to change. It goes towards empowerment. Level 4 is the level of self-talk which says I am. Now, after I decided to change from a late riser to an early riser, I say to myself, okay, I am an early riser. This is the level of a better me. When I identify myself as an early riser, I say, okay, this is what I am now. Now, the I am can be a little, that story of I am can be disempowering or empowering, depends on how you use it. So use with level 1, like, oh, I can't wake up in the morning, I am a late riser. That is one level of using it. That's an extremely disempowering level of using I am. But if I use it with level 3, that, okay, I have made that change in my life and I no longer sleep till late. I make use of the early morning time. This whole 5 a.m. club is a huge fad these days, and a lot of people are waking up, and it's wonderful. It's not just a fad. It's wonderful. It's making use of your time. So if I identify with that, I say, okay, I am an early riser. Choose your words wisely. Okay. And level 5, which is the 5th level, it is what? So after I create my own world, I reflect that in the outside. Okay, it is wonderful to wake up in the morning. I am an early riser. It is wonderful to wake up in the morning. Life is full of fun. Life is amazing. These are the levels of universal affirmations. But again, the words, it is, life is, world is, these are stories that we tell ourselves. They can be disempowering or empowering, depend on which level we pair them with. So if I pair it is with disempowering affirmations, I can't be like that, so I am lazy, and so it is sad, or so whatever. With level 3 and 4, levels of empowering change, I no longer sleep late. I have so much of energy. I am an early riser. And so it is wonderful to wake up in the morning. I get so much more work done and I'm so much fresher. It feels great. So choose your words wisely. Now, your self-talk can change your story completely, just like we saw in the examples. It is really up to you what point of view you want to hold to have an empowered or disempowered life. What is the story that you are living by? What is happening? What is the story you are telling yourself? And what is the story that you are actually living by? Your self-talk is the story that you are living by. Choose a story where you are the captain of your life rather than a passenger. As an airline captain, I fly the aircraft. The controls are with me, not with a passenger. A passenger is just somebody who is in my aircraft, who is going wherever I choose to take it. So Who am I choosing to be in my life? Am I choosing to be the captain of my own aircraft, or am I choosing to be just another passenger where somebody else is leading my life and I'm going with other people's talk in my head rather than taking charge of my life? So all of this that we just spoke about, the stories that we live by, the stories we tell ourselves, is a very small part of my signature program, Choose to Be the Captain of Your Life. In that program, we talk about so many more things about empowerment and taking charge of your life. And if you would like to, please get in touch with us and we can help you become a part of that program and live an empowered life. Choose to be the captain of your life. Thank you very much. And do you have any questions or comments?
Okay, Madam President, I have a question once again.
Yes, Manish, Miss your
So
founder.
when you're talking about a story as a self-talk, so this story has to be loud, or it has to be like inside you, in your soul. You don't have to really speak it loudly. How is it supposed to be done?
Okay, that's a very beautiful question, Manish. So there are two things. One is our internal self-talk.
You got my question,
Yes,
Madam
I did.
President?
I got your question. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, all right. So, so there are two parts to your question. Actually, I will explain it in two ways. Number one, there is an internal self-talk that is continuously happening. Okay, all the time we are telling ourselves something or the other about what's happening around us, and that is our internal self-talk. Now, when it comes to change, when it comes to changing the stories that we live by, there is something that we do which is called affirmations, which are extremely popular. Now, level 5 of a self-talk is actually affirmations, and a lot of it is happening inside of our heads. But when we want to change, okay, one is doing it inside of our heads, but the other thing is doing it out loud and openly. When we are changing our self-talk, if we do it out loud, it makes a big difference, because not only are we hearing ourselves internally, we're also hearing ourselves externally. I'm hearing my own voice tell me what I want to do now, rather than, and when I'm talking, a lot more aspects of my brain are engaged in that communication, rather than just one or two parts of the brain which are engaged in internal communication. So here I am, if I'm doing it in front of a mirror, then I'm looking at myself, I am telling myself, I am watching my expression, I am feeling the energy. All of that process is happening. So in the process of change, doing it openly, loudly to yourself makes a huge difference in the way you will stick to the change, in the way you will commit to the change. Otherwise, self-talk is a continuous tape that is happening in your head non-stop. From the time you open your eyes, before you open your eyes to after you close your eyes, it is continuous. So a change would be good, when you want to change, it would be good to have it out loud.
So as you said, in front of the mirror or something. So what you're essentially saying is that wherever we are doing this self-talk, no other human should perhaps be around. Maybe they might, not know what is going on or something like that. Is that how it should be?
So that is one possibility. That is what I'm talking about when you practice your process of change, because change is not overnight. So if you want to change, you do it consciously. What I spoke about doing it in front of the mirror is something called a mirror technique. It's a practicing in front of the mirror, so that when you are out in the world, you are when you talk to other people, you have rehearsed it. It's like a rehearsal of what you want to be out in the world. And if other people are around, it doesn't matter really. The only thing is, when you are in the process of change, it is a good idea to do it in front of a mirror with yourself, or with a coach, with somebody who is supportive of that change process of yours, so that you don't get disempowered by other people's comments. Sometimes when we are trying to make some certain changes, people who are close to us, in whatever good intention they may have, they may actually tell us, yeah, but it's so hard, how will you be able to do it, you've not been that kind of a person. And that may be a disempowering conversation that we may take. That is their story. But what I have done is I have taken that story as my story, and I'm now disempowered in my head by their story. So see, we take stories from other people. There are no original stories that we have. All our stories
Yes.
are from our parents or from our teachers or from influential adults growing up. Now at this stage, as an adult, if I want to change my story, then it has to be conscious effort coming from me, with the support of a coach or a therapist or a friend, somebody who will stand by me as I change, as I grow, become more empowered, so that I don't take 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
So I'll share a small sort of incident from my hostel days here. I had a friend called Yogi, and he had this concept of story while drinking, alcohol. And he would say that, boss, it is a matter of celebration. And if we don't create a story and we don't get into the story, so he would get into us into a story. So I remember one of the stories was that, it was a small, we went into medieval times and kingdom times, and one of us became the king, another officer, and all that stuff. So I can relate to it, although it sounds very funny and maybe ironical and maybe doesn't have much of logic behind it. But somehow I used to enjoy that part. So I guess, is it something similar to what you're saying?
Yes, it is quite similar. So see, all the stories are just made up. Everything is made up, right? So even if the medieval thing that he said, that was just a fun part, but there could be others. Like a lot of people tell themselves stories while drinking, saying, oh, I am tired, I need the drink to relax myself. That's a story you're telling yourself. Some people tell themselves stories that, oh, okay, I'm drinking because it's social drinking, I'm drinking to give company to my friends. That is a story you tell yourself. So all of these are just stories. A person who drinks to feel relaxed can change his story and say, okay, I'm drinking because I like to drink, and I can relax otherwise without a drink also. Correct? So these are the different kinds of ways we can recognize our stories, whether it is empowering, disempowering, and choose to make a change. Thank you very much, Manish. I see that Gopu sir has told me that the time is up and the question time is also up. So moving on to the next speaker. Our next speaker is Kamal Nayan Mittalji. So I'm going to spotlight him, and his topic for today is how stories sell. So Kamalji, over to you.
Very good morning, everyone. उन्होंने जैसे कहा कि the stories which we tell to ourselves are important. I hope I am audible. मैं सुनाई दे रहा हूँ सबको?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
तो उसमें एक बड़ी अच्छी मुझे याद है, जब सेल्स में रहते थे हमें हमेशा ये चीज कहा जाता था कि एलआईसी की ब्रांच में जाके मत बैठो, कि वहां पे 4 आदमी और आएंगे, बोलेंगे यार बिजनेस नहीं है, धंधा नहीं है, तो दैट इज अ स्टोरी यू विल बी टेलिंग योरसेल्फ कि बिजनेस है नहीं, बाहर जाके फायदा नहीं है, लोगों के पास पैसा नहीं है. तो बेस्ट थिंग इज दैट व्हाटएवर यू टेल योरसेल्फ यू बिलीव इट टू बी ट्रू. एक बड़ी अच्छी पोएट्री, मैं पहले कुछ और कहना चाह रहा था, लेकिन जैसे आपका बात चला, एक बड़ी अच्छी स्टोरी मुझे ध्यान आई. स्मॉल पोएट्री है और मेरे ख्याल से हर सेल्समैन जो भी सेलिंग लाइन में रहा है इस स्टोरी को रिलेट कर पाएगा. द नेम ऑफ द पोएट्री इज लेट द चेंज बिगिन. ओके, आई सेड इट डिडंट मैटर दैट आई वाजंट डूइंग मच. आई सेड आई डिडंट केयर फॉर थिंग्स लाइक कमीशन चेक्स एंड सच. I claim to be so busy with the things inside zone, but deep inside, I long for something special of my own. I couldn't let my life go by just watching others win. I held my breath. I stepped outside and let the change begin. I took a step with a new strength I never felt before. I kissed my comfort zone goodbye and closed and locked the door. If you are in your comfort zone, afraid to venture out, remember that all winners were one time filled with doubt. A step or two and a word of praise can make your dreams come true. Reach for your future with a smile. Success is there for you. तो ये फेसबुक पर किसी ने पोएट्री डाली थी, मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगी और मेरे को लगा कि हर सेल्समैन इससे रिलेट कर पाता है, क्योंकि बहुत आराम के जोन में रहता है और फिर बोलता है नहीं सारी चीजें ओके है. जब दूसरों को आगे निकलता हुआ देखता है तो इच्छा तो करती है कि मैं भी आगे जाऊं, बट लेकिन उसके लिए शुरुआत नहीं करता है। तो इफ ही कीप्स ऑन टेलिंग द स्टोरी दैट आई कैन डू बेटर देन दोज पीपल, देन इट कैन मोटिवेट हिम। एक बहुत अच्छी स्टोरी मैं कहना चाहूंगा, दिस इज बेस्ड फॉर सेविंग्स। दो भाई थे, दोनों की उम्र लगभग एक जैसी थी। एक का नाम था हिरेन, एक का नाम था सचिन। हिरेन का ये मानना था कि भाई जब तक शादी नहीं होती, जिम्मेदारी नहीं होती, मुझे बचत करनी चाहिए। तो वो कुछ बाद में पता नहीं जिम्मेदारी के बाद में मैं बचत कर पाऊं कि नहीं कहूं। सचिन का ये मानना था अभी तो मौज मस्ती का टाइम है, जब जिम्मेदारी है तब बचत करो, अब करके क्या फायदा, जब समय आएगा सब चीज हो जाती है, तो पहले से इतना परेशान होने की जरूरत नहीं है। आज उस बात को करीब 30-40 साल हो गए हैं। अब ऐसा हुआ कि हिरेन ने पहले 10-12 साल से बचत किया, उसके बाद में सामने वाला बचत नहीं कर पाया क्योंकि शादी हो गई, बच्चे हो गए, जिम्मेदारियां बढ़ गई। बड़ी कोशिश के बाद में भी वो बचत नहीं कर पाया। सचिन ने पहले बचत नहीं की, लेकिन बाद में शादी के बाद में उसका भाग्य बदला और उसको अच्छी कंपनी में नौकरी मिली, और काफी साल तक जितना उसने, हिरेन ने पहले 10-15 साल में बचाया, तो जिंदगी भर हर साल उतना पैसा बचाता चला गया। 30-40 साल के बाद में आपको क्या लगता है किसके पास में ज्यादा पैसे होंगे?
Sachin.
सचिन के पास में। एनी अदर ओपिनियन? मेहरनोश?
I think it would be hit because we started earlier.
हैं जी?
छोटा छोटा भी स्टार्ट किया होगा, लेकिन जल्दी शुरू किया था।
देखिए, हिरेन ने क्योंकि पहले 10-12 साल ही पैसे बचत किए, वो पैसा इतना ज्यादा हो गया उसके ब्याज से, जितना सचिन हर साल कंट्रीब्यूट करता उससे ज्यादा उसके ब्याज से ही कंट्रीब्यूशन होने लग गया। यानी 10-12 साल के अंदर पैसा इतना ज्यादा हो जाता है कि 10-12 साल के बाद में अगर आदमी लेट शुरू करे बचत करना है, वो कभी भी पहले वाले आदमी को बीट नहीं कर सकता। सिर्फ पहले 10-12 साल उसने बचत की और उसके बाद में उस जिंदगी और कभी पैसे बचा नहीं पाया। और सचिन ने पहले 10-12 साल बचत नहीं की और जिंदगी भर पैसे बचाता रहा, तब भी वो हिरेन से आगे नहीं निकल पाया। अब ये कैलकुलेशन किसी भी एक्सेल चार्ट पर करके दे सकते हैं कि 10-12 साल में इतना पैसा हो जाता है कि अगले 10-12 साल पहले जो उसने रकम शुरू की तो उससे ज्यादा तो ब्याज ही होने लग जाता है। तो कभी भी सचिन हिरेन से आगे निकल नहीं पाया, जबकि उसने पैसे जिंदगी भर बचाए। तो जितना जल्दी शुरू करते हैं उसका पावर ऑफ कंपाउंडिंग का काफी ज्यादा फायदा होता है। अब देखिए क्या है कि एक दोस्त अपने दोस्त के साथ में बैठा बात कर रहा होता है, जैसे मनीष जी ने बोला ड्रिंक पर बैठा होता है, तो दूसरे को बोलता है यार मेरी बीवी ना बहुत परेशान करती है, क्या रोज रोज साड़ी मांगती है मेरे से। तो दोस्त बोलते हैं यार मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता भाभी जी इतनी साड़ियों का करती क्या है। बोला पता नहीं, मैंने कभी लाके तो दी नहीं। भाई साड़ी कभी लाके नहीं दोगे तो रोज रोज बीवी मांगने वाली है ना। तो अगर आप कभी बचत करोगे ही नहीं तो कभी पैसा होने वाला नहीं है। ऐसे दो दोस्त एक बिल्डिंग के नीचे खड़े होते हैं, एक दोस्त सिगरेट पी रहा होता है और उसको सिगरेट भी महंगी सिगरेट पीने का शौक होता है, 555। तो दूसरा बोलता है तो इतनी महंगी सिगरेट पीता? बोले ये तो मेरा शौक है, मैं तो कई सालों से पीता हूँ। बोले कितने सालों से पीता है? बोलता है मेरे को 15-20 साल तो हो गए। बोले कितनी सिगरेट पीता? बोला रोज का 1 पैकेट तो पी जाता हूँ। तो बोलता है यार तू इतने सालों में इतनी सिगरेट पी गया, हिसाब लगाता। फिर बोलता है एक चीज बताऊं, अगर तूने इतने सालों में इतनी सिगरेट रोज नहीं पी होती ना तो बिल्डिंग का टॉप फ्लोर वाला फ्लैट है ना तेरा होता। तो पहला वाला बोलता है अच्छा एक बात बता, तू तो सिगरेट नहीं पीता? बोलता मैं तो नहीं पीता हूँ। बोले तो मेरे साथ उसी कंपनी में नौकरी करता है जिसमें मैं करता हूँ? बोलता वो भी ठीक है। बोले इतने सालों से तू सिगरेट नहीं पीता? बोला नहीं। बोला वो फ्लैट तेरा है क्या? होता यह है कि हर आदमी अगर कहीं पर बचत नहीं कर रहा है तो जेब के अंदर कुछ छेद होते हैं, उसमें से पैसा निकल जाता है, वो पैसा कहीं और खर्चा करता है। ये वाला आदमी सिगरेट पर खर्चा कर रहा है, दूसरा शराब में कर रहा है, दूसरा महंगी गाड़ियों में खर्चा कर रहा है। लेकिन एक बचत जो धीरे धीरे होनी चाहिए वो नहीं होती है। अगर एक आदमी 25 साल 30 साल की उम्र में कमाना शुरू करता है और 40 साल की उम्र में वो जाकर के बोलता है कि मेरे पास में पैसा है नहीं, मनी ले, तो ऐसा क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि 15 साल में उसने कभी बचत किया ही नहीं। अब 55 साल की उम्र में रिटायरमेंट आने वाला है, 25 साल की से 40 साल की उम्र में उसने कभी बचत किया ही नहीं। नाउ ही इज सिटिंग एट द पीक ऑफ हिज करियर। अब भी नहीं करेगा तो जाहिर सी बात है, पहले 15 साल में पैसा नहीं हुआ तो अगले 15 साल में भी नहीं होने वाला है। अब अल्टीमेटली बाद में जाकर के बुढ़ापे के लिए, बच्चों की शादी के लिए लोन लेगा, यहाँ से हाथ पांव फैलाएगा, क्योंकि जिंदगी में जब उसको पैसे की बचत करनी चाहिए थी उसने की नहीं। तो ये छोटी छोटी कहानियां हैं, ये सुनाने से सेल्स होती है। मैं एक बड़ी अच्छी कहानी सुनाऊंगा, मैं उसके बाद में सबसे उसकी प्रतिक्रिया चाहूंगा। ठीक है, एवरीबॉडी इज लिसनिंग?
Yes, yes, Mr. Mittal, we are all there.
मेरे पड़ोस में एक सरदार जी रहते हैं। सरदार जी की एक बड़ी ब्यूटीफुल बीवी, आप जानते हैं पंजाबी लेडीज कितनी गोरी चिट्टी सुंदर होती हैं, तो बड़ी सुंदर सी उनकी बीवी है और बड़े प्यारे प्यारे 2 बच्चे हैं, एक है 5 साल का और एक है 6 साल का। सरदार जी का काम काफी अच्छा था। अचानक से क्या होगा, सरदार जी ने अपने ऑफिस में एक यंग छोकरी रखी। जैसे आप जानते हैं ना, जैसे पति पत्नी और वो के अंदर संजीव कुमार रंजीता पे फिदा हो जाता है, तो इसी तरह सरदार जी का अपने सेक्रेटरी के साथ में अफेयर चल गया। और आज से 2 साल पहले सरदार जी अपनी सेक्रेटरी के साथ में भाग गए, अपनी बीवी को बताए बगैर, बच्चों को बताए बगैर। आज तक ये नहीं पता चला कि वो कहाँ गए हैं। ठीक है, अब मैं ये आपसे प्रतिक्रिया चाहूंगा कि ऐसे इंसान के लिए आप किस तरह के शब्द इस्तेमाल करेंगे। आप गाली दे सकते हैं, जो चाहे लिख सकते हैं, वो आप मैसेज में टाइप कर दीजिए कि उसने सही काम किया, गलत काम किया। अब ये भी सोचना है कि ऐसी परिस्थिति के अंदर क्या हो सकता है, उसके परिवार की परिस्थिति क्या हो सकती है, क्या नहीं हो सकती। वो सोच करके उस आदमी के लिए आप डेफिनेशन दीजिए कि उस आदमी को आप क्या कहेंगे। अदिति जी ने बोला कमीना, फूल। प्रिया ने बोला फूल। भाई सामने वाला तो मजा कर रहा है, भाई उसको क्या दिक्कत है, वो तो मजेदार मजे में है, उसको काय को फूल वो क्यों बेवकूफ हुआ, वो तो मजे में है। अच्छा, कोच
दूसरी और तो जानना चाहिए उसकी
जॉनसन
लाइफ
भाई
में और
मिलेगा
क्या
तो
चल
कोच
रहा
करूँ
था।
ना, तो मिला ही नहीं आज तक उसके बाद में।
नहीं
अकॉर्डिंग
हमें
टू सरदारनी टुक अ रॉन्ग स्टेप। सरदारनी के हिसाब से उसने गलत डिसीजन लिया। अदिति ने बोला चीट, हनी ट्रैप, कैनॉट जज व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन हिज लाइफ। मैं एक चीज बताइए, जो सरदार जी ने किया, क्या आप और हम में से ऐसा कोई करेगा क्या? हाउ मेनी ऑफ अस माइट टेक दैट काइंड ऑफ स्टेप इज सरदार जी टुक?
पहले तो हमें पता ही नहीं है ना उसकी और लाइफ में क्या चल रहा है। हाफ वी डोंट नो।
हमें भी नहीं पता है, लेकिन क्या सरदारनी और बच्चे तो नजर आ रहे हैं ना सामने।
मेरे ख्याल से हमारे वीनस मेंबर में कोई नहीं करेगा ऐसा।
आर यू श्योर मनी जी?
Not sure because I am not inside
करना
the
नहीं
soul
चाहिए।
of my
देखिए,
members.
बोलने की बात। अच्छा, आप करोगे क्या जी? मनी जी आप करोगे ऐसा?
नहीं, no.
नहीं, हम मानते हैं कि हम में से कोई भी ऐसा नहीं करना चाहेगा। वी माइट नॉट बी पार्ट ऑफ दिस काइंड ऑफ अ पर्सन, वी डोंट लाइक टू बी दिस काइंड ऑफ अ पर्सन। बट इस बात से सब सहमत हैं?
Yes.
अच्छा, मैं एक सवाल पूछता हूं। आज अगर मैं मर जाता हूं, ठीक है, आज मैं अगर मर जाता हूं, मेरी भी वाइफ है, 2 बच्चे हैं, सरदार जी तो अपनी सेक्रेटरी के साथ में भाग गए, मैं तो भाग के नहीं गया, मैं बड़ा समझदार हूं, लेकिन आज मैं मर जाता हूं तो उसके घर की परिस्थिति और मेरे घर की परिस्थिति तो सेम ही रहने वाली है ना।
Yes, yes.
वो भाग के गया, वो अनजान पूछ के किया, मैंने अनजाने में किया, रिजल्ट तो सेम ही है ना। है जी सर?
Yes, yes, agreed.
तो बेवकूफ कौन हुआ जी? अभी आपने बोला
मरने वाला।
कमीना है, बेवकूफ है, गलत आदमी है, ऐसा तो कोई भी नहीं करेगा, लेकिन हम अनजाने में अपने परिवार के साथ में कर रहे हैं इफ यू डोंट बाय लाइफ इंश्योरेंस, क्योंकि सामने वाला जानबूझ के सेक्रेटरी के साथ में भाग गया, हम अनजाने में कर रहे हैं, बट रिजल्ट्स आर एग्जैक्टली द सेम।
Do you get an insurance where the wife gets the money if the husband runs away with the girlfriend?
Yes, why not? नहीं नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होता है, मरने के बाद।
ऐसा इंश्योरेंस है कि नहीं?
नहीं, ऐसा मरने के बाद ही होता है।
Okay.
वाइफ उसको है ना उड़वा दे ना, किसी को सुपारी देके तो हो जाएगा। लेकिन ये चीज है कि सरदार जी की मैंने कहानी ऐसे ली, इस वजह से ली कि लोग अनजाने में ये चीज करते हैं। देखिए, आज सरदार जी अपने बीवी बच्चों को छोड़ के चला गया, ठीक है, हम मानते हैं उसका उसने गलत किया, लेकिन उसके बीवी बच्चों की परिस्थिति भी वही है जो मेरे मरने के बाद मेरे बीवी बच्चों की होने वाली है अगर मैं लाइफ इंश्योरेंस नहीं लेता हूं तो। अब यहाँ सरदार जी को हम दुनिया भर की गालियां देते हैं, अब हम अपने आप को गाली नहीं देना चाहते, but have we actually bought insurance which can safeguard the benefits of my wife and kids? Is the money which they are having good enough? If not, मैं भी सरदार जी हूं फिर तो।
करेक्ट।
अच्छा, मैं एक सेल्स का मैं एक बताऊंगा, देन आई विल एंड द पार्ट एंड आई विल ओपन इट फॉर क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर्स। एक मेरे कस्टमर है जिनसे मेरी एक्चुअल रियल सेल हुई थी, उसकी मैं कहानी बताता हूँ। ही इज अ वेरी बिग गाय, काफी अच्छे पैसे वाले हैं। अब एक बार जब उनके पास में बैठा हुआ था, उन्होंने बोला उनकी 2 बेटियां और 1 बेटा है। एक बेटी जो छोटी है वो आर्थिक रूप से थोड़ी कमजोर है, तो बोले जो मैं ऑफिस में बैठा हूं, मैं सोचा एक ऑफिस उसके नाम पर कर दूं ताकि कल को मुझे कुछ हो जाता है तो उसको कभी पैसे की कमी ना हो। ठीक है, तो मैंने ये बोला आप ये चाहते हो कि आपके मरने के बाद में आपकी छोटी बेटी को पैसे की कोई तकलीफ ना हो, आप इतना ही चाहते हो? हाँ। तो मतलब आप डिवीजन की बात क्यों करते हो, तो मल्टीप्लिकेशन करो ना। बोले कैसे? बोले जो ऑफिस आप उसके नाम पर करना चाहते हो, अगर उसका आज किराया पकड़े तो कितना होगा? बोले 3 करोड़ का ऑफिस है, उसका किराया होगा करीब 18 लाख रुपए। तो मैंने बोला आप ऐसा करो, जो 18 लाख रुपए इसका किराया एज्यूम करते हो, उसमें से 7 लाख रुपए आप मुझे दो हर साल। अब देखिए, आप आज उसके नाम पर ऑफिस करना चाह रहे हैं तो आमदनी सारी बंद, और आपका डर ये है कि आपके मरने के बाद में उसको पैसा मिलना चाहिए, इसको कोई तकलीफ नहीं आनी चाहिए। आप 7 लाख मुझे अगर देते हो हर साल, तो आप पहली बेटी को, आप एक बेटी को केवल पैसा देना चाहते हैं, मैं आपके बेटे को भी 3 करोड़ रुपया दूंगा, आपकी बड़ी बेटी को भी 3 करोड़ रुपया दूंगा, और आपकी छोटी बेटी जिसके लिए आप चिंता कर रहे हैं उसको भी 3 करोड़ रुपया दूंगा, और ये 3 करोड़ का ऑफिस आप अपनी बीवी के नाम पे कर दो। तो सामने वाला 3 करोड़ का एसेट अपनी वाइफ को सिर्फ ट्रांसफर करना चाहता था, और मैंने सीधा उसका एसेट 12 करोड़ में मल्टीप्लिकेशन कर दिया, क्योंकि 3 करोड़ का ऑफिस तो वाइफ के लिए चला गया, उसके केवल किराए के आधे किराए से 9 करोड़ रुपए की पॉलिसी के तीनों बच्चों को 3-3 करोड़ रुपया दे दिया। तो इज इट नॉट मल्टीप्लिकेशन इंस्टेड ऑफ डिवीजन? तो इंश्योरेंस एक ऐसी चीज है, उसका अगर ढंग से इस्तेमाल किया जाए तो एस्टेट प्लानिंग में बहुत काम आ सकता है। जैसे कि लोग क्या करते हैं कि मरने के बाद में मकान बच्चों को छोड़ करके जाते हैं, खुद तकलीफ में जी लेते हैं। मैं बोलता हूँ अपना मकान बेच के मौज मस्ती करके जाओ, 1 करोड़ का मकान है, 2 करोड़ की पॉलिसी लेके बच्चों के नाम करके जाओ ना, आप भी कम मजे करो और बच्चों को भी डबल मजा कराओ। तो रियल एस्टेट प्लानिंग या एस्टेट पासिंग ऑन कैन बी वेरी वेल डन थ्रू इंश्योरेंस। तो ये बचत और ये सब चीज के लिए छोटी छोटी कहानी है जो कि बता करके लोगों को एंकरेज करना पड़ता है कि भाई सेल्स इस तरह से होती है। देखिए क्या है कि हर आदमी को जब तक आप उदाहरण नहीं देते, एग्जाम्पल नहीं देते हैं, तो समझने में थोड़ा जोर आता है। उनको मैं काफी समय से इंश्योरेंस के लिए अप्रोच कर रहा था, लेकिन नहीं, उन्होंने इंश्योरेंस नहीं लिया था। लेकिन जब ये मामला हुआ, डॉटर वाली जिक्र आई और उनको किया, उन्होंने केवल 9 करोड़ का इंश्योरेंस ले लिया, उसके बाद में 7 करोड़ का इंश्योरेंस और लिया, यानी टोटल 16 करोड़ का इंश्योरेंस केवल इस कहानी के आधार पर उन्होंने लिया। तो स्टोरीज एंड सिचुएशनल examples can be very well used while making a sale. Any questions?
So with this last example you gave about insurance, and especially when you are not there, या तो आप गर्लफ्रेंड के साथ भाग जाते हो या ऊपर चले जाते हो, तो उसमें टर्म इंश्योरेंस लेना चाहिए कि रेगुलर ट्रेडिशनल प्लान लेना चाहिए?
Absolutely, term insurance is the one I recommend. 100 साल की उम्र तक का ले लो, कभी तो मरेंगे, और अपना पैसे से मौज मस्ती करो। पीछे वाले के लिए पैसा ही छोड़ के जाना है ना, पैसा छोड़ के जाओ, अपने पैसे से मौज मस्ती करो। यानी हम भी मजा ले रहे हैं और पीछे वाले को भी मजा रहे। अब ऐसा क्यों कर, हम भी तकलीफ पा रहे हैं, हम पीछे वाले के लिए छोड़ के जा रहे हैं? भाई अपने को पैसा हमने कमाया, हमारा हक पहले बनता है। आप भी आनंद लो, पीछे वाले को भी आनंद दो ना, ये क्यों एक जना मजा करेगा दूसरा नहीं करेगा?
अरे टर्म इंश्योरेंस का पैसा किसको मिलता है, वाइफ को मिलता है कि डॉटर को?
भाई ऐसा है, टर्म इंश्योरेंस का पैसा किसी को भी मिल सकता है, आप काले चोर को भी देके जा सकते हो। आपको असाइनमेंट करना है उसके ऊपर, बीवी बच्चों को देना चाहते हो तो नॉमिनेशन कर दो, अगर किसी को, आप अगर गर्लफ्रेंड को देना चाहते हो तो असाइनमेंट कर दो, जिसको भी मिल जाएगा। तो मैं समझ रहा हूँ आपके चेहरे पे मुस्कान आ गई है। आप पॉलिसी को असाइन कर सकते हैं तो गर्लफ्रेंड को भी पैसा मिल जाएगा। नॉमिनी नहीं रख सकते थे उसका,
दो रखने का ना, एक बीवी के लिए, एक गर्लफ्रेंड के लिए,
तो अलग अलग
दो
रखो
टर्म
ना,
इंश्योरेंस।
कोई दिक्कत नहीं, इंश्योरेंस कंपनी को कोई दिक्कत नहीं है।
Kamal ji, now the only
Thank
thing,
you.
अभी आपने जो अभी इंश्योरेंस की बात बताए थे, I'm also an LIC person, but what I faced in the last 3-4 years is when I go to sell insurance, अरे ये आ गया LIC वाला, चल इसको निपटा कैसे भी भगा दे इसको।
थोड़ा सा जोर से बोलेंगे क्या, थोड़ी आवाज कम आ रही है।
तो when I go, the attitude, sometimes of people is, ये आ गया देख LIC वाला, इसको कैसे भी निपटा के भगा दो, वापस आया पॉलिसी लेने के लिए, इसको भगा दो। और दिस इज सिनेरियो 1। सिनेरियो 2, अरे मेरा अंकल है, आंटी है LIC में, मेरा भांजा है, भतीजा है, जो भी है LIC में, मैं क्यों आपको दूं, मैं उनको दे दूंगा ना अगर मुझे लेना है। तो ये तो सिचुएशन में कैसा स्टोरी बता सकते हैं?
देखिए क्या, ये सारे ऑब्जेक्शंस हैं, ये एक्चुअली में कहानियां हैं जो सामने वाला आपको सुना रहा है, या तो आप उसको कहानी सुनाएंगे या वो सामने वाला आपको कहानी सुनाएगा। ये सारी कहानी है आपको टालने के लिए। तो पहली चीज इसमें ऐसा है, या तो हमारी रेपुटेशन कमजोर है, ठीक है, या बिल्कुल अनजान आदमी है जो कि ये मुझसे जानता नहीं, तो उसको पहले जाके अपनी रेपुटेशन बनानी पड़ेगी। देखिए ऐसा है, दुनिया में हर आदमी भविष्य के लिए बचत करता है, हर आदमी कुछ ना कुछ तो इंश्योरेंस लेता है, तो मेरे थ्रू क्यों नहीं लेगा भाई? तो ये मुझे सोचना है कि मेरे अंदर क्या कमी है, या मैं क्या इतना अच्छा हूं कि हर आदमी मुझसे खरीदना चाहेगा। मुझे ज्यादातर, मैं आप यकीन मानिए, मुझे ज्यादातर है ना लोगों ने मना नहीं किया। मैं जहां भी जाता था सेल होती थी। देखिए पहली चीज क्या, मैं सेल करने के लिए नहीं जाता था। सबसे बड़ी बात, जब आप सेल करने के लिए जाओगे तो सेल नहीं होगी। जब आप उसकी कोई समस्या का समाधान करने जाओगे तो सामने वाला मना करेगा क्यों? एक मराठी में कहावत है, बाप दाखव नाहीतर श्राद्ध कर। या तो दिखा भाई मेरी जो सॉल्यूशन दिया है इसमें कोई कमी है, और अगर कोई कमी नहीं है तो प्रपोजल साइन करो भाई। क्योंकि देखिए दो में से एक ही चीज होंगी, या आइदर माय प्रपोजल इज नॉट गुड, आइदर द पर्सन इज आउट ऑफ मनी, आइदर द पर्सन डजंट लाइक मी, तो कुछ ना कुछ बहाना बनाएगा। वो अपने को समझना है तजुर्बे के साथ में कि सामने वाला ऐसा क्यों बोल रहा है। ज्यादातर मुझे ऐसा फेस करने को नहीं मिला, और कहीं पर जाता हूं ऐसा शुरुआत में ही अपने को पता चल जाता है तजुर्बे के बाद में। तो सी इफ somebody says no, you can always say next। हिंदुस्तान में रॉ मटेरियल की कमी नहीं है, लोग बहुत सारे हैं। अब एक आदमी मना करे दूसरे के पास जाए, एक ही के पास बार बार जाने की जरूरत क्या है?
Okay.
Any other question?